Jesus literally drank wine. So how is it wrong for us to be drinking? A lot of people had this question in the comment section of this video that this comment is from. Allow me to break this down for everyone, to my understanding. So in my translation, Proverbs 20 verse 1 says, "Wine causes you to make fun of others, and beer causes you to start fights. Anyone who is led astray by them is not wise." So it's saying don't let wine lead you astray, because what happens when we drink too much wine? We get drunk, which is a sin, and sin separates us from God. I know my translation says beer because it's a simplified text, but in other translations it says strong drink, which apparently is such a huge difference for a lot of other people. But I digress, because some people are trying to make jokes like, oh, well, it doesn't say anything about liquor, or it doesn't say anything about gardening. If it's causing you to be led astray, it's a problem. Anyone who is led astray by them is not wise. Let's go to Galatians 5:19. It says, "The results of sin's control in our lives is clear. It includes sexual sins, impure acts, and wild living. It includes worshiping statues of gods and worshiping evil powers. It also includes hatred and fighting, jealousy, and fits of anger. Sinful desire is interested only in getting ahead. It stirs up trouble. It separates people into their own little groups. It wants what others have. It gets drunk and takes part in wild parties." Ephesians 5:18 says, "Don't fill yourself up with wine. Getting drunk will lead to wild living. Instead, be filled with the Holy Spirit." Romans 13:13 says, "Let us act as we should, like people living in the daytime. Have nothing to do with wild parties and don't get drunk. Don't take part in sexual sins or evil conduct. Don't fight with each other or be jealous of anyone." 1 Peter 4:3 says, "You have spent enough time in the past doing what ungodly people choose to do. You lived a wild life, you longed for evil things, you got drunk, you went to wild parties, you worshipped statues of gods, which the Lord hates. Ungodly people are surprised that you no longer join them in what they do. They want you to join them in their wild and wasteful living, so they say bad things about you, but they will have to explain their actions to God." So I think the Bible is pretty clear about the fact that we should not be getting drunk. Clearly having a little bit of wine I think is okay, because Jesus literally made wine and drank it with the disciples. But wine back then was also very different from the wine that we have today. Their wine was pretty much like Welch's grape juice. So whether it's wine or any other strong drink, or these days substances, I think if you're using it and it causes you to sin, leads you astray, then you should not be partaking in it. So it's not so much about drinking wine in particular. It's about drunkenness and what that can lead to. Sinful, worldly living, fighting with people, sexual sin. I mean, how many times have I gotten drunk and committed sexual sin or fought with somebody while I was drunk? A few times. So that's what this passage is talking about. I hope this helps.